Hi, everybody. Welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. It's Thursday night, and every other Thursday night I jump on and share a technique with you. So one week I do a mystery challenge, and then the alternate week I do a technique. And for the last few alternating Thursdays, hey Betty, I have been sharing ways to make shaker cards. So this is the third in the series of shaker cards. The first one was where we used a window sheet and some, oh, great. A window sheet and some foam adhesive strips to create that kind of dam around where you put the sequence in. The last one we did, we used a clear envelope to create the shaker card. And tonight we're going to use another clear envelope. Now, if you watched the World Card Making Day demonstration that I did, I'm going to remake that card. So you've seen it before, but maybe the second time round it'll make a little more sense because I think it's a little bit confusing about how you have to position it. But I'm using the Joyful Flurry. So Joey, I'm assuming since you're coming in through Facebook, you can actually see and hear me and all is good, because I got a message when I logged in that said Facebook, streaming to Facebook through StreamYard, which is what I use, wasn't working. So I'm hoping clearly it is, and I'm glad to see that you're able to join. All right, I'm going to switch over to my desktop and we'll get started. Now, this is the card that I made on World Card Making Day. And you can see the reason. So this is a frameless shaker card. This is the third in the series. It's a window sheet on the front and then opens up. So I've got a little sentiment spot there. And if you really wanted to, you could put basic white on the back. Great. And you could put your sentiment here if you didn't want to, kind of have the writing showing through. But it's just a really fun way. It uses a window sheet to make this strong enough or stiff enough to stand up, and then you put your sequence in. Now, Patty Bennett, who is an amazing demonstrator from the US, I think shared this originally, and then Nancy Wong, who's on my team, shared it on a team meeting, and I just fell in love with that. So I decided I was going to use the Joyful Flurry and make this shaker card. So let me show you. Okay, so here's the Joyful Flurry. Oops. So Joyful Flurry is snowflakes. And you get a whole bunch of dies. You get some great sentiments. These sentiments are so pretty. And then the snowflakes. And then you get the dies in the bundle that you can cut out these snowflakes, as well as cutting out snowflakes that have that are more embossed, little slits cut in them, and I'll show you what I mean when I say that. So it's kind of a fun way to make a snowflake. So you have 3 of those, and then you've got the outlines for 3, some little ones, and then these 2 really cute label dies. We're going to use them. Hey, Lynette, welcome. Great, lots of people here tonight. Okay, so what do you need to make this? Well, you need a piece of cardstock, and I'm using Night of Navy. And this is 4 1/4 by 11, and we're going to score this at 5 1/2. So everything kind of looks like it's starting out, like a regular card. Yeah, that's kind of where it changes. That's the only thing that's kind of regular about this. All right, so we've got our base, and I'm going to fold on the raised line and give it a good burnish. Hey, Catherine. Okay, so there's our base. Now, we've also got a clear envelope. So these come, I think there's 50 to a package. I use them for storing my cards in after I've made them, but they're great for storing. I also store embellishments and all sorts of things in them. I've even had cards mailed to me in them, although I don't know how, I've heard that if you do that, there's a good chance your card may not reach, or whatever you put in here may not reach, because you can see through it, but reach the person that is supposed to get it. But I have had things come through with just a label on this. Then I've got a piece of window sheet that I have cut. So this window sheet is cut. Actually, I think I managed to cut it too short. No, I didn't. I cut it right. So it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So this is the same size as your base. And we're going to slip this into our window sheet. So now we've got, this is what makes it sturdy enough to stand up. Now I'm going to use these are for Everything Fancy sequence, and they come in three colors. They come in blue, green, and pink. So I'm going to use the blue ones because they go nicely with Night of Navy. And they're so pretty. So they've got a little bit of gold. They've got some pearls. They've got blue sequins, different sizes. It's just really pretty. Now what you want to do is you want to put them in. So let's just think about this. So this is going to be your card base. And it's the reason why it's a little bit different is that the top of your card base is actually the opening. So the scored line is actually the bottom for this card. And what you want to do, we're going to end up putting this right on the front of it and folding this flap over. So you want the flap to the front. And then you're going to take and put your sequence in. You can put as much as you want. The thicker it is, of course, the less chance you have of it going through the mail. The one thing you do want to do is take some, I'm going to just take a piece of tear and tape adhesive that is roughly the size of the width of this. And I'm going to just slip this underneath and adhere it to the top, hopefully to the top of my window sheet. Now what this is going to do is this is going to seal the top of your cards so your sequence can't sneak out. Now I probably should have put this on before I actually put my window sheet in, and definitely before I put the sequence on, but that's okay. I think I can manage to get this on there. If you don't do this, your sequence will fall out, and you don't want sequence all over the place. So we're just going to put, you can use like a clear Scotch tape. I'm going to cover this with some ribbon at the top, so you won't see this anyway. So I'm going to just take your pick tool and just kind of fold that across. And so now my card is sealed and my sequence won't fall out. If you watched my World Card Making Day, I actually forgot to do that, and my sequence kind of fell out and I had to kind of stop midstream and do that. Now, the next thing you want to do is take this and line it up, just kind of set it to the bottom of your card base. And roughly, it's a little bit bigger than your card base. So it's going to, kind of stretch over a little bit on each side. Peel that off, line this up so that it's, as even as you can, lined up at the bottom, and as even as you can on either side. And then fold this flap down. So now we've got our card. This is the front of our card. So this would be normally, what would open at your tent fold. And then this is the base of your card. We're going to seal this. So I am going to use tear and tape. I just want to make sure. I find that tear and tape works best on when you're using these clear envelopes. So I'm just going to take some tear and tape, and so basically you're sealing your card base up. This is just giving it kind of the sturdiness that it needs, and also a place to adhere your flap. And if I just put a little bit, put that flap down like that. I'm probably going overboard with my tear and tape, but just to make sure that this is all sealed. Once you actually make one of these cards, it does make more sense. And you can go back to this video. Now, I had an issue the other night with you not being able to watch my video on Facebook, either my group or page, on the replay. So it worked fine. People were able to see it live, but didn't work on the replay, which is why I posted the link to my YouTube video, because I also stream to YouTube at the same time. So it was an issue with StreamYard, and so unfortunately that video can't be watched on the replay. But if you ever have that issue, let me know. But also because I stream it to YouTube at the same time, there's always an alternate spot. Okay, so now I've got my card base is sealed. So that's my card, the back of my card. This is the front of my card. And so now we basically have a 10th fold card that we can decorate. Hopefully that makes sense. If you've seen this for the second time, hopefully it makes sense even more. All right, so what are we going to do to decorate? So I'm going to do it I'm using this is the snowflake specialty vellum specialty paper. The one I used on the original card was the kind of the hologram one. This is the flocked snowflakes, the big snowflakes. I just thought it would be kind of pretty on the back. So I'm just going to take a little bit of Stampin' Seal and put top and bottom. It hides the adhesive pretty well, this particular vellum, but sometimes you can see adhesive through the vellum. Oh, and you can a little bit, but that's okay. We're gonna hopefully, this is going to be such a pretty card. You're going to be not seeing that adhesive. All right, now find my Night of Navy. So I'm just going to take and stamp a few snowflakes kind of around this top like that. And I'm just going to let that sit for a minute. That's going to go on the inside like that. And now we can take and we'll do, I'll put that away. We'll do one more snowflake that we'll cut out for the inside like that. I think that's everything I need for Night of Navy. And now I've got two pieces. So I've got a piece of Night of Navy cardstock and a piece of basic white. And now I'm going to do some heat embossing. So I've got my vellum. I've got my embossing buddy just to take the static off of it. And now we're going to stamp. Actually, we're not going to stamp the white. We're going to just cut out the white. So we're going to stamp two snowflakes on the Night of Navy using vellum like that. And then we're going to stamp the sentiment that says, what does it say? It's a season of magic and wonder. So we'll stamp that down there. And now I've got my white embossing powder. Tap it from the back and you'll find that you'll get rid of most of that powder. Give it a flick with your nail. And if you've used the embossing buddy, usually you're pretty successful in getting rid of the extra powder. Okay, so let's take and use my heat tool. Hopefully this isn't too loud on here. Oops, I got more. There we go. So we'll just heat emboss this. So hold it in one spot until you start to see it melt and go from this dull matte finish to a shiny finish. I really love the white embossing powder, there we go, on Night of Navy, like a dark cardstock. It's just very striking. So just once it starts to melt, just kind of move it around the image until it's all melt. Don't hold it in one spot for too long once it's melted, or you can get it starting to kind of melt into the paper and you'll start to lose the image a little bit. And then the sentiment. All right. So we've got our snowflakes, and now I just need the dies. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this to cut out the label. Just going to put a Post-it note tape to hold that in place. And then this will cut out that snowflake. So again, I use Post-it note tape. You can use washi tape. You can use Post-it notes, whatever works. And then this one will cut out this smaller snowflake. Like that. Okay, so there's our snowflake. Oopsie, that one didn't hold. Didn't get enough of the cardstock. There we go. Okay, so there's that, and then I'll have to cut that later. And the other thing I want to cut at the same time is, so I've got my basic white, and as I said, these snowflakes cut out a snowflake, or it'll cut the outline of, or the inside of a snowflake, the detailed, with little slits. So let me just bring in my Stamp and Cut, get stuff out of the way. Okay, so this will go on like that. And this piece can go on like that. So we'll get some of them cut. Run this through. Okay, and then we'll do this one. Take that off. And then the last thing I need to do is cut. I'll show you the snowflake, that the detailed one. Let's just move this for a minute. So that die that I used, this one, what it did is, you can hopefully see, so it's cut out the outline of a snowflake, or the shape of a snowflake, and then these pieces are cut so that you can poke them up and you can get a three-dimensional snowflake. What I do need to do is take and cut that out. So I'm going to use this other die and just kind of find a spot, and there we go. So we'll cut this out. It doesn't exactly fit around it, but it's close enough. It's intended more, I think, to do as a detailed in a background piece of cardstock, but I find that it will cut out reasonably well if I use that. I'm going to kind of hide part of it. It's going to be tucked underneath, so if it's not perfectly cut out around that snowflake, I'm okay with that. There you go. All right, so here's our detailed snowflake. And you can see it's kind of cut some pieces off of it here, but I've got the shape of a snowflake, which is really what I want, just to add some extra. I've got the navy snowflakes for the front of the card, and the navy base. So I just want to add a little bit of extra, a different color on it. So if I bring this back in. So I want this to show with my stamped snowflakes. So I'm going to just take and use some Stamp and Seal, and I'm going to put this up kind of high there. So this is one of the deckled rectangle dies that I used for that. I think it's the, I'm going to say it's the fifth. Yeah, it's the fifth largest or fourth, 1, 2, 3, fourth smallest, fifth largest of these deco rectangles. I am loving these rectangles. So I've got it. It will show because I've got my snowflakes. And then somewhere, here we go. I cut a white snowflake. So I'm just going to take and use some Stampin' Seal. You could use a glue dot. I don't want this popped up. I don't want my card to be any thicker than what I have it. So that snowflake will just go kind of right there. And now let's arrange. So we've got the white snowflake, the sentiment, and my two navy snowflakes. So let's take and put this. I'm just going to kind of arrange them how I want them. We'll tuck this one underneath, and then we'll put this one, the sentiment, kind of like that. Okay, I think I got it. So you can use dimensionals on this, or you can just use Stampin' Seal, whatever you want. There we go. So let's just put that one. This one's going to be kind of underneath, and then we'll use dimensionals on these ones. I'm not going to put any extra embellishments on this because it's got this beautiful sequence on the inside, and I'm just not sure I need anything more on it. There we go. And then I'm going to just pop up the one side of my sentiment, and I will use Stampin' Seal on the other side because I want that to be flat against this snowflake like that. Get it straight would be really good. There we go. All right, and the last thing, because I want to hide my tear and tape at the top, I have some of this. This is iridescent trim. This actually goes with the Gnomes suite, and it is quite thick. So I haven't been really sure what to do with it because it is quite thick. And so I just find that I'm going to just kind of wrap it around the top and tie a knot. To be honest, I haven't been real successful in tying bows with this because of the thickness. So we'll just tie a knot. Really, I just want this to hide my tear and tape that I used at the top to seal my envelope. So I'm just going to tie a knot in this so it doesn't come undone like that. And we'll just trim these off. All right, there we go. So there is our frameless shaker card. So you can see all the way through this on the front flap. Opens up spot for writing. If you don't want to write on there so that you can see it through, add a piece of basic white on the back of this, and then put your sentiment or a sentiment on your note on the back of it if you want. But isn't that pretty? Just, I love these. They're so much fun. Nancy, when she showed it, and I think Patty Bennett when she made it, it's hard to see because I've got the glare. They used the, I think it's called the Love Santa tag kit, which is a kit collection, and use that to decorate. It makes it so easy to make a whole bunch of these in one go, and then just use any of the tags to decorate the front. Really cool idea. I decided to make it a little fancier and not copy that. So, but it would make really, really cute cards, and you could whip them up fairly quickly. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed that. I will not be live on Saturday because I have a stamp camp starting tomorrow afternoon and going through Saturday night. I will be back live. I might be a little bit late on Sunday. Usually I go live at 12. I do have a class going up until 12 o'clock, so I might be a little bit late, probably closer to 12:30. But I hope you join me then for a project. All right, everybody, hope you have a great evening. Happy stamping. Bye.